Hey guys, very good evening to all of you. My name is Ajay Parmar and today you're watching the video number 471, and this one is very special for me because today in this video we are, for the first time on this channel, we are going to talk about the HTML. Right now, if you do not know what is HTML actually I don't say that it's a language, but we call it as hypertext markup language. So HTML basically it is something with the help of which you can make the web pages. So we're going to start this web designing, right? And now why I'm starting this web designing, because as you know that on this channel we have Excel VBA, MS Access and Access VBA. So all these four subjects, so far we have covered, and we are still covering, right? Day by day I'm uploading the videos as and when I receive your comments or questions. Also, then also I go ahead and upload the videos. Now this is the fifth category, the fifth chapter, which the subject I would say we're going to learn, so that we can use this HTML in the VBA also. Now many of you had asked me in past that what is the web scraping, or people who know actually about the web scraping. It is simply to connect your web applications with the Excel, and we can automate that, those are the web pages. For example, you might have seen some stock market web pages where the data automatically populates after every seconds. So how to pull that data and get it pasted in Excel using the VBA. So sort of these things people do a lot, and many of you have requested me in the past. But then I thought that I think the best way would be to first start with the HTML, because we should learn also. I should not go ahead and just record the videos for the sake of the clicks. And I know you can copy the code, but you can copy the code from the Google also, guys, because there are so many articles. So if you're on this channel, then I want to give you a true learning. So today we are starting the HTML introduction part, right? It's a plain simple syntax which we're going to write, and I'm going to talk about a lot of things. For example, in this we're going to try to find out the answers to these questions. What is HTML and its little bit history, like what sort of versions we have so far, and what is the purpose of HTML, what are the tools or the softwares you can use which are required for HTML, and is HTML important for Excel VBA professionals? Now this is something very important, right? And HTML tags and the codes, and then we will go ahead and start working with the HTML. So we're going to talk about everything today, right? And this is a beginner video, so I'm not really going to make it so complex. We'll just simply make it simple one. So what we're going to do is, before I go further, and because if you're watching the video, the channel for the first time, then I want to tell you that on this channel, basically guys, these are all the playlists which we have created, and this I share in my every video. Now these are all the four playlists, you see that, and today I have added one more: web design, HTML, introduction to the HTML part 1, which you are watching right away. But if you're looking for the Excel VBA learning, or Excel or Access Frontend or Access VBA, you can also go and check out all these playlists. Now these are all those playlists which you're going to find on my this channel. When you click there, this is where on the playlist you get to see all these different playlists. So far we have got 45, and this one is going to make it 46. So these are all the 45 right now, the playlist which you can go and watch. And I have already shared the this basically the sequence with you, right? Now let's come back to the topic. So as I said that these are all the questions we're going to try to I'm going to discuss all these things. So what is the HTML, why do we need the HTML, where it is going to be used, and the softwares which you require, and then little bit the HTML coding also we're going to do in this the video. So guys, first of all, let me start. As I was talking about that HTML basically means that it is the hypertext markup language. It is not a programming language. First of all, let me clear that. Like, if you guys know the VBA, if you are following my channel, and you know that, like, we have the videos on Access VBA, we have the videos on the, the Excel VBA, what exactly they are all, they are all actually the programmings. But HTML is not a programming, which means that, for example, this is my website. Let me take you to my website, then I will be able to give you a good understanding. Now if you look at this, this is the front page of the website. This is called the web page. Now if you look at this, a better way to learn MS Excel, VBA, Access, right, Microsoft training courses. Now this is my website. If you do not know, you can also contact me through this if you're looking for the online training. But the point is, this website has logos, this website has images, and syntax written in the different fonts and the different colors. So this is all being done using the HTML, right? There's no programming. Now what do you mean by the programming? If I just take you back to the Excel, right, we will be talking about the Excel also simultaneously, so that I can make this video a kind of a unique of its own, right, of its own kind, because generally when you go and watch the videos on HTML, they talk about only HTML. But because we have this channel dedicated for Excel professionals also, so let's talk about the Excel VBA also. Now you know that now in Excel VBA, what you do when you create some button, how you create, you create a button, and that button, in that button, you go to the insert, and this is how you create the button. And on this button, whenever somebody clicks, what happens? Some action happens, right? So that action happens. Why it is happening? There is a macro which is running. There is something which you have scheduled there. There is something which you set to your macro, that look, this is supposed to be done when the user is going to click there, right? So that is called the programming, where something can happen. But right now we are talking about only the still page. Now this is just a still page, and this does not require any programming. Now in the web designing, you need to be if you really want to make an excellent, the pages. For example, if I just click on the search page, what happens? It is going to search. For example, if I just write here VLOOKUP and I just go and search on it, there is something going to run. You see that? I get to see this page. Now what is happening? So this is basically the search button. Actually, it is designed in the HTML, right? We also have used the CSS. I'm not going to talk about the CSS right now. Let's keep it very simple. So basically, guys, in the coming videos, you will see HTML, you will see the CSS, you will see the jQuery, and we will be talking about some other language as well, like PHP, right? Now when I click here, what happens? A language, let's say the PHP, or maybe it can be other language as well, like for example ASP.NET. If the web page is designed on the ASP.NET, then also, somebody can do that, right? So basically the idea is, when something happens, when you click on the buttons, they are not the HTML, they are the programming. HTML is all about the still page which you are seeing here, right? So this is something which we actually which actually goes behind every this web page. So you need to have a very good understanding of your this HTML, right? So guys, HTML, as I said, it's a hypertext language, hypertext markup language we call it. We can create the web pages if we know HTML, and it was developed by Tim Berners in 1990. So you can see that it's actually quite an old language, right? And he was a scientist actually who developed this, like the Microsoft had developed the Excel. So similarly, this also HTML is was developed by somebody whose name was Tim Berners, right? Now guys, HTML works behind the web pages, and there are different types of the tags we use in the HTML, like paragraph, body, and header. For example, if you go to this website, now this website has a lot of things. They are divided into the different sections. So generally, like if you scroll it down, this is called the footer, right? And if you just go up, this is called basically the header, and between this is called the body. So HTML further, in the HTML we work on the different the tags. I'm going to talk about those tags, right? Those tags are the paragraph tags, the body tags, and the header tags. We will just come to that right now. you can also see these tags never seen in front of the web page, they work behind web page. Like in Excel, when you run the macro, user only know the button where to click. Like in Excel also, when you ask your user to run something, he never goes into this developer page and he run the code from there, isn't it? We don't run the code from here. This is for ourselves, this is for us. Actually, this is for the programmers who are building this Excel macro. Similarly, when you see this now, this is the front end. You don't see here what's happening in the HTML, right? But whosoever has designed the website, obviously that website is designed in the form of a kind of the coding, right? And this is where we use those HTML tags, right? Now HTML is a simple, it's a plain text. It is very easy to learn. It's very easy to learn, I would say. You find this very interesting as well, right? Now these are all the versions, guys. HTML, right now HTML5, this is the version which was launched in 2014. I'm not sure if we have any further version to that, but these are all the versions, different versions with the years: 1991, then 95, 97, 99, 2000, 2014. And if you are XLB, then you know that in Excel also we have 2000 version, then we have 2000, I think 2003, then 2007, and then 2010, and then 2013, and then latest we have 2016. So these are all the Excel versions. So what happens, every language, every technology, with the passage of the time, their teams, they keep on working on it, right? And they keep on coming with the advanced step, right? So I thought that sharing this may be helpful for you to connect with this particular HTML code, right? So now let's talk about the softwares. What are the softwares we need? Now where do you write the Excel VBA, guys? You write Excel VBA on the in the Excel. You go to the Visual Basic, and this is where you write the program. You cannot develop any Excel macro if you don't have a Excel. It's as simple as that. If you haven't installed the Office 2016, and if you haven't installed the Excel, you cannot use the VBA. So we need a place. We need a place, where we can go and write the things, write the programs, right? So similarly, HTML, you don't have to really, work harder on it, because these are the three softwares which I know personally, but you can Google it. You will find a lot of other softwares as well. Notepad is there. Notepad is, it always comes with the Windows. I'm talking about the Windows user. Now when you just go here and you just type in the Notepad, this is the Notepad we use a lot of time. In fact, I have a lot of videos on Excel, in my Excel VBA also, how to input the data, how to connect the text files with the Excel using the automation. So this is the same Notepad, right? We are going to write the program in this Notepad, right? So Notepad++ is another software which is absolutely free. You can download it from net. Dreamweaver is another software. Now Dreamweaver is a software where you don't have to write the HTML code. It's more of a like drag and drop. I mean, you can customize the things. You can just, the code is automatically going to be generated. Now this is now there are n number of the tools in the market where you don't have to be an HTML expert. You can simply, like in the pivot, what happens, guys, in the pivot you drag and drop. You really don't have to worry about the Excel formulas, right? We don't use the formulas there in the Excel pivot. We simply drag and drop the things. And how about the recording the macro? When you record the macro in the Excel, what happens? You record the macro and that's it, right? So macro gets recorded and you can do that task again and again. But the point is, if you ever get stuck in the recording the macro, or maybe if you want something more, you want to run the loops, then you need to have a good knowledge of the VBA. So similarly, guys, to work on these ready-made softwares also, which a lot of time people use to design the websites. And you can also go on the YouTube and you can search there that how to make the websites, the free websites, right? So that you will see a lot of tutorials there where people simply just using these softwares. But you know what, if even if you're working in a software, guys, in the software also HTML is used, and it's always good to have that information, isn't it? Because if you know the information, you can edit things, right? So this is how these softwares are there. There are a number of softwares, but we are going to use the Notepad, right? which is your, basically you can say it's a kind of your, it's your text file actually, right? The you store the data in the text file. Similarly, we're going to write the codes in the notepad, but we're not going to make it text file, we're going to make it the HTML, and that I will tell you, right? So now let's go to the next point, which is that in the HTML, guys, what we need to learn is we have basically two things: opening tag and closing tag, right? Like in every macro, when you go in the Excel, what happens? You have a sub and you have an end sub, and every program which you write that goes between this, right? If you write anything outside this and you try to run that, you will have actually the error, right? You will get the error and the program will not run. So similarly, in the HTML, we call them the opening tag and the closing tag. Now this is your opening tag, my friends. You see that smaller and then the greater than sign. Now with this backslash, this becomes the closing tag. So this is basically your closing tag, and this is your open tag. So whatever you write within that, right? Now inside these, the tags, we have the different element. We have the different sort of, you can say that, to control, to customize the web page, we have a different element. For example, we have a HTML, we have an head, we have a title, we have a body, we have h1 as header 1, h2 as header 2 or heading 2, and h3 as header or heading 3, right? So I'm going to walk you through about all this, right? Because I don't just want to end up this video by telling you all these blah blah things, because I know theoretically it is always, it's very actually boring, but if you can see the practical, it's going to be great fun, right? Now you can take these sort of, these elements as like, you write in the VB, Excel VB, the syntax is, if you have to select any cell, what do you write? You write range a1 dot select. If you have to select any sheet, what do you write? You write worksheets and the sheet name dot select, and then there are a lot of functions also in the VB which you can write, isn't it? So sort of those commands are there. So similarly in the HTML also we have these elements, and there are a lot of other elements also, and as we move ahead we will be talking about all those elements, right, one by one. So let's go and first of all see that how to write the web page, right? So I'm simply today going to talk about all these the elements which I have written, and then you're going to see that what's going, how we can write this. Now to begin with, the coding, guys, you have to write here HTML. Now you see that I have just opened the notepad and I'm just going to close this. Now what is this? You see that I'm entering the backslash. So everything we are going to write here, that is supposed to be written between these two tags. Now this is my opening tag and this is my closing tag. Now for Excel VB lovers, as I said, that this is, you can take this as your sub, where after which you write the name, and this is your end sub, right? So every basically language has a specific, syntax formation, rules and regulations are there. So in this markup language also, in this language, we are also going to follow all these rules. Now you have to write this HTML and then you have to close this with this closing tag. Now inside this, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it title. What is my title? Now for example, when you see that this says playlist hyphen YouTube, and this is my website, which is Excel VB Lover, or you can open any web page, you will get to see the title there, right? So these are all called the titles, and these all the titles, we write basically in our under the header tag, right, under this header tag. So how are we going to write this? I'll show you. I'll just simply write here head. This is the opening tag. It's a case insensitive, so no worries at all, right? Now here I'm just going to write, let me close that. Remember, if you're writing any element, it should be closed as well, and this is how we close it, right? Like in Excel VB, when we write the if function, we always write end if. If we write the for next loop, then for, when you write the for, it always followed by the next, right? You cannot run any loop without next word if you're writing for, isn't it? Similarly, talk about the do loop. In the do loop also we write do while and then loop, right? So this is what we are supposed to do here. You have to close the tag, whatever the tag you are going to open it. So here I'm simply going to write title. This is the title. These are all the HTML keywords. So here I'm simply going to write my first page, for example, guys, and you have to close this. So I'm going to write this like this. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to save this. I say Control S, save the text file. Now this is a text file obviously, but we will not keep this as text file. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to name it as first aid dot, and then you can write here HTML. Give the extension as guys HTML, right? I save this. Once you save this, keep your notepad open, do not close it, right? Because we still have to work on this. But if I just go and see if there is something which is created by this, you see that I'm using the Chrome, so you see that this says firstday.html, and this looks like a proper web, explorer, right? Which if I double click, if I launch, I'm going to have a web page open. Let me double click here and let's see that what's gonna happen. Look at this guys, the page is absolutely empty, but this absolutely looks like a web page, and this is my title which says my first page. Isn't it exciting? This actually is my first HTML code, my first HTML video, and this is going to be great fun, isn't it? So we have the first page. Now in this first page, what I'm going to do is we are going to talk about the other things. For example, now there is another section which we're going to write in the body. So what you write, the body, whatever you write in the body, that comes on the web page, remember. Now what I have written is, it's not showing in the page, isn't it? So we have to go and write the body. So inside the body guys, now what we are supposed to do here is, I'm going to walk you through about this H1, H2 and H3, and then we'll just wrap up for the day, right? So this is how I write. I'm gonna write here the header 1. Now my header 1 is going to be what? So let's say I write here my web page, okay, and as usual I'm just going to close this tag using the H1, and then again I just go and copy this, and I'm gonna paste it here 3 times, and we will name this as H2. This is H3, and similarly we have to make sure that this should be H3 and this should be H2, right? Now when you're going to do this, save this notepad, right? I just save this, I still have it open. Remember, I go here in my Explorer, if it is already open, you just refresh it, otherwise open it again. I'm going to click here and look at this guys, this is fantastic. Now you have the text starts coming. Now this is how exactly this website was also prepared, not maybe exactly the same way, but you can see that these are all the big headers, and they are written in this way, and of course they have changed the color, right? But we can also do that in the coming sessions, but I'm just trying to give you the idea. Now if you think that, now if I just copy this and I just go and paste it here, and I'm just going to write here, let's say H4, and now let's say I just simply save this notepad. Don't forget to save this if you just want to refresh it, because if you're not going to save it, you're not going to see the the changes. Look at this guys, this is how these are all called your headers, and in this way we are going to start this HTML, right? So what we have learned today is, now you basically saw that every code basically starts with the HTML, right? I can show you the code here, right? This is the HTML. Let me just give some indenting, backspace it. Yeah, so every code is going to be written within your HTML codes. Now head actually we use for the title, right? You can put the title here, and then the rest of all the designing which we are going to do in the future also, that's going to be written in this body, right? In this is the opening tag of my body, and this is the closing tab of my body, right? So that's it for now, and we're going to talk about more on this HTML part, because once I walk you through, once I help you in learning this HTML, remember guys, we're going to come back to our Excel VBA and we are going to learn the web scraping. So thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon with some another exciting video.